You're being told that Marvel Strike Force is unplayable for the free-to-play community right now. I'm here to assure you that that is simply a lie. Right now, people are being told that there's simply not enough resources to build your characters. Also untrue. People are panicking about characters and teams that aren't even being released right now. People are panicking about characters and teams that may not even exist. I understand there's a lot of confusion in the community, but we're getting ready to cut right through the misinformation. We're going to ignore the noise. We're going to ignore the rumors, and we're going to show you how you can build your account free to play successfully. It's by doing right what any big job is. You have to do it one step at a time. So we're going to focus on the most important character in the game right now, and that is Magneto Phoenix Force. We got to flip the script. We got to flip the script. You can succeed. You can do this. You can get this done. Now, what we have here is a Reddit post from a member of the community. And as we look at the information, we're going to see that there is some confusion as to how things are progressing in the game. I think this is highly reflective of what's going on in the community right now. There's a lot of information that's just being tossed around. And if a lot of it isn't true, people get confused as to what they're supposed to be doing. Marvel Strike Force hasn't changed in quite some time. There is a line of characters that come out and you just build them in an assembly line right down the line. That's what we do on the free-to-play side. We just take what we get and keep going forward. When we don't do that, things get out of whack. But let's go ahead and take a few minutes and look at this blog post right here. Here's a title. He says, "What's going on? There are 5 teams in the new splash screen." He says the deluge of new characters right now is never ending. He said there's a new Mutants, the Winter Guard, Retcon with Jeff, who most of us won't have for months, Magneto Phoenix Force, the Galactic Council, the Champions, and now, according to Mobile Gamer's new video, the Daring Warriors with Speedball, Night Thrasher, and a new Marvel Strike Force original character. He says, what's going on? This is all less than 2 months? Where are the resources to build all these teams? Why of all times is now a shotgun release of characters? And about all these guys, not a single new team is in next Spotlight raid. That was funniest to me, he says. All this time later, and we still never got that Dark Descendants team with Onslaught. What even was that leak? All right, let's break this down. So again, I think this is very reflexive of what's going on in the community. There's a lot of information. People are unsure what to do, and it causes confusion. And sadly, there are people who are leaning into the confusion to line their own pockets, which again is a sad, sad thing. If we look at that new splash screen, right? Let's look at the new splash screen. It popped up in game for me this weekend. You might need an update. I had an update on one of my devices. So if we look at this new splash screen, what do we see? We're moving again from left to right. We start out with Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl. Underneath them is Jeff, the Land Shark. To the right, we have Magneto Phoenix Force, and he's facing off against the new Marvel Strike Force original character, who we believe to be Umbra. We had a really strong breakdown of all the evidence that they gave. Check that video out if you haven't seen it already. We have Nova, Sam Alexander version to the right of Umbra. Above him on his left, the individual with the sticks is Night Thrasher, and the individual in the upper right-hand corner is Speedball. So those are the characters that are on the new splash screen. So who do we not see on the new splash screen? Well, we don't see any new mutants. We don't see any Winter Guard. So if someone is saying that those are the characters that are on the screen, right? If someone's telling you this, that's just not true right now. That's not the correct information. We're moving on to the next batch of teams. What does that help us to appreciate? Well, if we're working on our new mutants, or if we're working on our Winter Guard, right, we're probably somewhere in the right place there, free to play. We probably are finishing up one or both of those teams. I would urge you, though, to stop, to just pause and stop. Why? Because Magneto Phoenix Force is coming. He is also a mutant character, so we need to make sure we have enough mutant gear to get that individual powered up. Now, he's an epic character. And they said that he's coming out here, I believe they said January 3rd, and it will be 8 days that his event will run. You will be able to unlock this character. I don't see any reason why not. I could be wrong. I could have egg on my face in a couple of days. But if history is any guide, we'll be able to do it. On my baby account, I unlocked Zombie Kestrel and Omega Red Phoenix Force. Probably not even trying. I was probably going after the whatever resources were available on a node, shop credits, things like that. The intent probably wasn't to unlock the characters, but yet I got them both. So if history is any guide, we will be able to unlock the characters. Now, it's possible, it's probable. On the free-to-play side, we might only get them at 2 or 3 stars. We're going to use our power cores to refresh the energy and just do what's reasonable. There'll be other people out, probably maybe today, tomorrow, that will have information math-wise about what is reasonable to do. I would follow that information. There's no reason to believe that we cannot unlock the character. Can I get a 4 or a 5 star? I don't know. That might be outside of the realm of free to play, but that's what happens with an epic character. They're premium characters. They're strong if you're spending money. They're still going to be usable. At that 3-star level. We know this because Phoenix Force, Omega Red was usable at that level. Most of us are unlocking new characters at what? 4 stars, 3 stars? So why would it be any different here? Why would this character not be usable? They're going to have the new 3.0 stats. They're going to be fine. If you don't have an interest in a character, then don't do it. That's fine. I understand that. But I'm just saying you have an opportunity that will close. I'm not into the fear of missing out. We're not doing that. We're just saying you have an opportunity that will close. If you want the character, the opportunity will be there to go get it, and you will indeed have the resources, but you need power cores. So if I'm using power cores to try to enhance my unlock, maybe of the Winter Guard, I'm going to stop doing that, right? I'm doing that on my baby account. I have all the characters unlocked on my main account, so I'm going to stop doing that. I'm just going to keep the power cores that I have for the next couple of days and reinvest that, hopefully, in the energy so I'm able to unlock Magneto Phoenix Force. Now it says this event was 8 days. Okay, so what's going to probably happen toward the end of that 8 days? Well, we'll get the release of whichever of the new champion members is coming to the game. So we have Moon Girl with Devil Dinosaur, and we have Nova Sam Alexander. Why? Because recycle of this game has not changed in quite some time, in years. Typically 7 to 10 days, the next character is released. So somewhere around that time, at the conclusion of the Magneto Phoenix Force event, we'll see whichever one of these characters is the new character coming into the game. And the same deal is true. Since the champions don't have all of their characters, there's no point in building them right now. We haven't seen a date for them, so don't build them. They're supposed to be used in the raid. We haven't seen any adjustment to the raid. We haven't seen any changes to the raid. We haven't heard any information. There's no date, so don't build them. Knowledge is power. Keep that information handy, but don't use your resources. You can only build a few characters a month, typically 5. If that still holds true, we can't build extra characters. We can't build ahead. The spenders get to do that. But on the free-to-play side, you can't. You have to focus on one thing at a time. You have to focus on taking one bite at a time. Well, what team comes out after the champions? It's going to be that new team, the Daring Warriors. So we have a new character, Marvel Strike Force Original. We have Night Thrasher, and we have Speedball. So more than likely, this is the team for March, right? We were told that this is the next team. That this is the next team, right? So in February, we have Magneto Phoenix Force. We're going to have Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur, Nova Sam Alexander. In some order, those are the 3 characters that are going to come out. And then for March, right? That's for February. Then for March, we will have the next team, the Daring Warriors. So don't get too hung up on how am I going to build all these characters. You don't have to. We just do things one at a time. We can't plan ahead for the Daring Warriors. We don't know who's going to be on the team. We don't know what the reworks are. I speculated some things. Other people speculated some things. The community speculated some things, right? We've heard Cloak and Dagger. That was my picks. But many of the community here, they were digging deep. They said, hey, what about Firestar? What about Darkhawk, right? We saw a lot of comments. About that. Nova Sam Alexander, he was actually on that team. I wasn't thinking about him because we already had him coming to the game in the form of the champions. But some people said, well, then what about the legendary character Nova? Great pick. That could happen. His kit is made more for Alliance War, but hey, Scopely's going to do what they're going to do. They could pick two other completely random characters. We don't know. So since we don't know, I have fun speculating because I like comics and things of that nature. And there's many of you that do as well. But we're not going to put investment in them because we don't know. We only have enough for a certain amount of characters every month. So we can't use it on other things. So we'll just have to wait and see. Now, let's get back to our original list. He mentioned Retcon with Jeff, who most of us will not have for months. And that's an accurate statement. Again, we had a member of the community that said, we probably won't see Jeff until it's pool party time, right? So he meant the warm months, the summer months. And it's possible. That's very, very true that could be the case. And since that's true, that would mean that there's no point in trying to build the Retcon team until we have Jeff unlocked. The team doesn't work without him. So it's a waste of resources to build those characters. So don't do it, right? Stay focused, follow the path. This is how you succeed on the free-to-play side of things. What teams haven't we mentioned yet? Well, he said the Galactic Council. Now, the Galactic Council has to do with the characters, the legendary characters in the form of Quasar, Thunderstrike, and Blastar that were given us through the Age of Annihilus event. And they recently said Adam Warlock and Star-Lord. Now, both of those have the 3.0 stats. They're both in the top 20 for abilities, but it's probably not time to build them up yet. I'm not building them up yet. We're going to wait and see. What could this team do for us? Well, it's possible that during the Age of Annihilus, during the Annihilus unlock, if it's similar to Professor X or something of that nature, it's possible that they will have a node or two that says Galactic Council. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. There's no point in building them up right now if you don't want to, because we don't know. One thing they are good for, again, I'm not encouraging you to build them up. I'm just bringing something out. One of the things they are good for is that they're legendary characters. And if you play the game the way I've been playing, if you've been playing like for the past year, you don't have enough legendary characters. You don't have enough legendary characters that are strong enough unless you go backwards. We don't want to do that. We only want to go forwards. You won't have enough legendary characters that are strong enough to unlock, let's say, Odin, Mephisto, Super Skrull, because you haven't put any investment into them, into those legendary characters, right? When you get to those nodes in those versions of Dark Dimension, there's nodes that ask for legendary characters, and you need to build them up to a certain amount. Omega Red is a great pick. So was the Phoenix. She's a legendary character and will go along very nicely, obviously, with Magneto Phoenix Force. But if for some reason we don't have one of those, maybe we can use one of these characters to replace it to get a total of 5, right? So we would have had our Quasar, depending. We would have had our Quasar, our Blastar, our Thunderstrike, depending on when we started playing. But again, we might need a couple more to fit that in. It's just going to depend. I wouldn't build them up just for that purpose. But if we need more to get a strong character, right, that might be reasonable. Generally speaking, we don't go backwards. But if we're right on the line, we just want to grab an Odin, and that means we need to build one other character here. You just got to know that you're trading one for one. And then you have to build Odin up as well. So that's 2, right? That's just how the game goes. Now, finally, he brought out a very important point about the Dark Descendants with Onslaught. Now, it was rumored that the Dark Descendants, one of the individuals that would be coming, would be Havok. And Havok did indeed come to the game. However, he's not on the Dark Descendants team, is he? He's a member of the Starjammers. So what's the point? What are we trying to bring out? We might hear of leaks. We might have rumors. There might be data mines, right? And individuals who are bringing this information out, I don't think that they're trying to be deceitful. Let me make that clear. I don't think that they're trying to be deceitful. But whenever you're talking about advanced information, you have to understand that until we see it official, don't move on that information. Keep it in mind, strategize, but unless you see it official, don't move on the information, right? Was the individual who brought this out lying? I don't think so. More than likely, what's happening is there was a concept. The concept was way down the line and the information changed. That's the most reasonable opinion that I have. So some of the information came true. because the information changed, right? So don't make decisions. Don't put power ups on people to try to get ahead. You can only work on what's in front of you right now on the free to play side. What's coming out right now? The next thing that's happening that has a date on it, Magneto Phoenix Force. So make preparations for that. I'm confident that we'll be able to unlock the character free to play if it follows the trend of history. Now, keep in mind, the reason why I started making videos about Marvel Strike Force is because I'm just be honest with you, I'm tired. I was tired of the misinformation. And we've proved, right? We brought receipts. I have an account that I've been playing since day one. I don't have the resource problems that other people do. Am I doing something strange? I don't think so. I'm playing the game the way that they tell us to play the game. I've played for the last 3 years. I built a new account every year to the end game, not running into the resource problems. Any areas that I did, I made sure I communicated that to the company. And in most cases, those resource problems had to do with stuff that happened earlier in the game, not being able to get uh, uh, ability materials. Most of the time, I'm thinking of tier fours, but there's other ability materials that lead up to tier fours, right? There was a time when we weren't able to get those. There was a time when you would get stuck at the blue gear phase because there wasn't any way to get blue gear effectively, right? That's in a very early step up, but there wasn't a way to get the gear. They changed a lot of that stuff. They changed the way the new player experience works. It works much better. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. So again, the proof is in the pudding. We're doing it. And if I'm doing it for free, you're able to do it as well. Right. So, hey, if you haven't had an opportunity to check out our video right here, like we said, about why we think that the new character is Umbra, please go ahead and check that one out. There's another video on screen that you might be interested in as well. Take it easy. Peace.